All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, diving back into the Red Sox war. I know I went Yankees last episode, going back to the Red Sox. I got Devin Futrell on, and he was a 10th round pick last year out of Vanderbilt, and he's in Salem right now, and he's building back up after a shoulder injury that kind of limited him throughout spring and everything like that. So he is coming back, and he is on the mound. He's starting again on Friday, so right when the All-Star break picks back up. So I talked to him a little bit about, obviously, his start to the year. He's put in well over 40 innings now. So I kind of talked to him about his pro career, looking back at the last year, being drafted out of Vanderbilt, and talked to him a little bit about what his offseason and spring training was like, his first one in the pros. And then I do talk to him a little bit off the field, kind of some things that, he is up to in his golf game a little bit, do dive into all that. But before I do get to the interview, whether you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you get your podcast, please like, subscribe. Helps me a ton. Making a big push right now on the YouTube. I know I say this every video, but it helps a ton, and it's free to subscribe. So please, if you can, please subscribe there. But without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Devin Futrell. All right, I am joined by Devin Futrell, and Devin, I kind of want to start out, obviously with the MLB draft happening this past week, you're now a year out from being drafted and starting your professional career. So I want to start there. You have a full year now under your belt as a professional. What kind of things have you learned? Like, what have you noticed so far about professional baseball?
I'd say the biggest thing is definitely just time management. In college, you're playing, on the weekends, and then you have one midweek game. So not as much downtime, I guess you can say, in pro ball, but it's just the grind of playing every day, trying to figure out what you're going to do each and every day to get better. And then just kind of all of that, meshing it in, kind of getting used to the time management has been my biggest adjustment from the transition. But overall, it's just been a smooth flow.
And so I need to ask something, because I had heard something about your college commitment and draft the first time you were draft eligible, and I need to know if it's true, because obviously you had committed to Vanderbilt at a young age, and obviously they're a powerhouse in their own right, and very understanding why you chose to go to school. But did I see or hear that you asked to not be drafted by pro teams after your senior year so you could go to Vanderbilt?
No, that's not true. I had there was I guess the first round ended, second round ended, and then we kind of got into the third and fourth round, and then my money wasn't going to add up with kind of the slot and money I was hoping for, so I ended up just pulling my name out, and then ended up going to Vanderbilt. But I think it was the best decision for me. Got a little mature, got a year of 3 years of SEC ball under my belt, and kind of just learning how to deal with adversity. I think it helped me in the long run.
When did you committed to them at a pretty young age? When was that? What year of when you were in school?
It's actually funny because it was my freshman year in high school, sometime in November, but Gavin Costas, Enrique Bradfield, and me all committed on the same day. Not planned at all. We just all made it happen that same day, and I think it's, kind of funny. Us all three being from the same high school, playing together since we were young, and going to the same college together. It's pretty special.
Yeah, you guys. I was looking at some of some of the alumni of your high school. I mean, Vanderbilt speaks for himself. Obviously, Vanderbilt's got pro guys everywhere, but high school is very impressive too.
Yeah.
It's a good crop of names that came out of there. But all right, so I want to kick back to your professional life so far. Obviously, you got a full year under your belt. You're in Salem right now. You're down in Low A. How have things been in Salem for you? How has the start to your, I guess, officially now that you're on the mound, how has your pro career been so far?
It's been good. Just a lot of learning and development. Not worried about, going 9 innings shutout to help my team win. More about just kind of learning new grips, kind of how to apply them to pitching, and just taking in all the data, because I wasn't a very big data guy to begin with, but now I kind of understand it, and now I'm applying it. So just learning how to do that, and then kind of applying it to my game to one day get to Boston.
Whatever, obviously being drafted by the Red Sox, and, they're having a big focus in the recent years on the pitching development and, just all the aspects that they have going on in the minor league system. What have you thought so far of you with your time working with the development staff and, getting a taste of what they have to offer?
I think it's really great from the pitching aspect. They're very good at teaching you kind of just pitch metrics and everything. So, like I said before, I wasn't huge on pitch metrics coming out of college, but now that I understand it and now how I know how to apply it, I think it's great. I mean, there's so many different ways to manipulate a ball, and them teaching that kind of helped me get better shapes overall and better strikeout stuff. So, I'm excited to keep learning and eventually, get to the big leagues and use that.
So you mentioned that it was something kind of new to you once you went to pro ball, something different than what I'm sure Vanderbilt's got some fantastic programs and they have access to a lot of different, pitch data and things like that compared to other universities. But what was, I guess, when you did get to the Red Sox, and would you say that was the biggest kind of, just like, whoa, like I'm not quite used to that yet? Or was there something else that you were just like kind of surprised about?
We had a really good like trackman idea at Vanderbilt, but I was just so big on throwing the white ball over the white plate and letting, the defenders get the outs for me. But once I got to pro ball, it was so much about like this new stuff, seam shifted wake, all that. So it was a big shock for me. I didn't realize that, you can manipulate so many external factors. So now that I have an idea about it, it's improved my game so much. Like my sweeper's so much better, slider's so much better. Changeup is more depthy now, so I'm pumped. It's awesome.
And I don't know if you know this quite yet, but that now that we're two drafts under the new the new regime for the Red Sox, they have a type of pitcher
Yeah.
that they go after. And I made this joke to a few guys in your draft class last year that it was all just big dudes. It was 6'5", 6'4", 6'3". I mean, you got an offensive line in the SEC in your draft
Oh,
class last year. You're included in that. You're 6'5". You're every bit as big as Brandon Clark and the rest of the guys. Did you kind of notice that when you got down to the complex after getting drafted and meeting all these guys? Were you noticing that you weren't the biggest guy there, and it was kind of interesting?
yeah, it's funny you say that. I remember after we all got drafted, there was like an article that came out, something saying that the Red Sox pitching draft is full of it's a basketball team, and that's what it is. I got to the complex, and everybody was huge, like 6'5", 6'6", even, and it's crazy to know like you can fill that out, and you can get so much better because we already have the height and the size.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. The draft before, when I saw Trenter O'Donnell and Blake Wehunt get drafted back to back, I'm like, you can't get a bigger guy than that. But I was very, very wrong because
Yeah.
you had Peyton Tolley and Clark and all you guys the year after. I'm like, geez. And then the draft class this year as well had some pretty big guys as well. So it's very, very interesting that you guys could probably field a whole basketball team and probably do pretty well against many other organizations.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we hold our own.
All right, so I want to ask a little bit. Obviously you didn't debut last year. You spent some time around the complex, things like that. But heading into your first off season, how hands-on was the organization with you? Like, did they give you a bunch of things they wanted you to accomplish, whether it was a velo program or add weight, whatever it was, or was it kind of, hey, we like what you're doing, like maybe do whatever, but like here's some stuff that we recommend. What was your off season like?
It was pretty hands-on. I had a coach throughout the whole off season, and then obviously when the break happened, there wasn't much contact, but there was just mostly just drills, just kind of sync the body, sync the delivery, because everything was so new to me, weighted balls wise. So did that, and then weight program was pretty much the same with our head strength coach, and then eventually I got down to Fort Myers in January and did all that early spring training stuff, velo program. So it was very hands-on. I think they do a good job of that with the developmental aspect. But once I got into spring training, it was just all ball.
So, obviously I hear a lot about guys that, that they draft and they potentially, give them new pitches. Like there was a thing for a while. I don't know if it's still the same, but every guy that got drafted, they wanted them to throw a sweeper like pretty immediately when they got to York. It could be changed by now, I don't know. But was there anything that they tweaked with the pitch mix, or like what is that looking like these days?
For me, the fastball stayed the same, like a minor adjustment on the changeup grip. I added a sweeper, and that took a little bit of it took a little bit of learning just to kind of understand like the spin and axis and all that. And then the slider, it's more depthy now, I would say, rather than more sweepy. So add that in the bag, and then just playing around every now and then whenever the coordinator comes in, just kind of add it like another pitch or make something better. So I'm currently working on a splitter or like a split change almost. So that's a work in progress, but it's getting better as the day goes by.
And so I did see, during your time at Vanderbilt, I think it said you had topped out around 94, 95 when you were in college. Is that still, looking the same? Have you added on to that since turning into pro and then obviously your start here in Salem?
It's been a little bit down just because of the workload adjustment. But I think I got up to 92 a couple times here. So just kind of just getting used to the workload. I'm coming off an injury or a minor injury, and just trying to get that workload built up so that I can hold that velo longer throughout the outings.
Yeah, you had, you mentioned obviously the injury, and you had missed some time in 2024 with the shoulder injury. And for you, like coming back from the shoulder injury, is everything good now? Or are you feeling a lot better? Obviously, I know you said your velocity's down a little bit, just trying to come back, get used to the workload. But how has that been, I guess, coming back from the injury?
Everything's fine. It's just one of those injuries where like there's nothing you can do about it. You can throw through it, but you're not going to be your best. So decided with the staff that it was best just to take a couple days off and slowly build back into it. And that's what I'm doing, or that's what I did do. And now everything's back to normal. I'm throwing harder now. And, shapes are better, change up better. So just overall, just getting back into it. I'm built up to about 65 pitches now. So got to start tomorrow, and then we'll see from there.
All right, yeah, and obviously, we just talked about it. You're not a guy that's going to go out and throw 100 miles per hour or anything like that. You go about things a little differently, which I still love. By the way, I know everybody's very enamored by velocity, and it's like, do you throw 100? If not, we don't like you. But I still love the guys who just go out there and pitch. And I feel like you're one of those guys. So for yourself, obviously you don't have that 100-mile-per-hour fastball. But what would you say is your bread and butter? Like, what kind of pitcher would you describe yourself as?
A scout last year described me as a vanilla old school pitcher. So take that as you want. But I think I'm more relying on deception and pitchability. That's kind of overlooked nowadays just because of the velocity and spin rates and all that. But I take a lot of credit to my dad just because he was the one that taught me how to pitch. So I'd say my biggest skill is pitchability and knowing how to get hitters out.
You mentioned your dad. I know he played, in the minor leagues for a while. And was there any jokes back and forth, obviously, with who he got drafted by and who you got drafted by?
No, not really. He didn't even know he got drafted by the Yankees. It was like he told me it the other day. He was saying that he was sleeping and then his dad came in, woke him up at like 8 a.m. or whatever. He's like, "Hey, you just got drafted by the Yankees." So that was pretty funny. But he spent most of his career with the Pirates. So
okay, so not as I guess bad blood. I know he's probably a Red Sox fan now, but
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
All right, so I want to dive into some things off the field, get to know you a little bit off the field. It's something I like to do with a lot of the guys because I got to know. I think I know the answer to this question, by the way, but I'm still going to ask it. You get every single Monday off in minor league baseball. So you got the day to yourself as long as you're not, taking a bus ride back home or whatever. So let's just say you're home and you got a day off. What are you using that Monday off day for?
Golf. I try golfing as much as I can. With the schedule, it's a little tough just because, like you said, we only have one day off. But I try using that Monday to golf, and then if I have enough time, I'll play video games with my brother or some of my buddies.
Okay, so I also need to ask as well. Obviously you probably got quite a bit. I know you were dealing with an injury last year, so you may not have golfed as much as you would have liked once you got maybe to the complex and things like that. But during like spring training and things like that, did you have a chance to go out and golf quite a bit in the Fort Myers area and things like that?
Absolutely. The shoulder impingement was early on in my junior year, so I was able to come back from that. And then once I got drafted, it was all golf pretty much. We had a country club that we went to pretty much every day, I guess you can say. So I played probably 3-4 times a week down there, and then once spring training came around, it was a little tougher just because of scheduling and all that. But yeah, golf was still huge. I probably golfed once or twice a week during spring training, and we had so much downtime because we got done at 12. So just my whole day was free. I'd go to the green, practice chipping, practice putting, because that's probably what 90% of people suck at. So I tried getting
Yeah.
better at that, and my score improved. But now that I've been out of it for a little bit, it's gone down a little bit now.
Okay. Well, you're just one of us, man. All
Yeah.
right. So I'm giving you a chance right now. I see a lot of guys obviously throwing shade at each other on Instagram in the comments or whatever. But let's just use your draft class. Who is? I'll give you. You'll have two different answers here. Who is one of the worst golfers in your draft class, and who is probably the best golfer in your draft class? If it's you, that's cool.
All right. Best golfer, easily Ben Hansen. He's
I've
just
heard that he's a scratch.
Yeah, he's a freak. Yeah, for sure. Worst golfer. I haven't really golfed with most of the class, but I'd say there was one time I golfed with Brandon Neely, and he got pretty angry at himself. Ended up doing things he probably shouldn't have done with the club. But yeah, he's probably the worst I've played with.
Okay, it's surprising, man. It's surprising for a Florida guy.
Oh
I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest.
he's too
Okay,
focused on hunting and taking his boat out.
that's fair. That's fair. I would have thought you would give me a BC honorable mention there for probably bad golfer, but I feel like he can just hit the absolute crap out of that ball.
He probably can. He's a freak athlete. I haven't seen him golf yet, so he might be one of them, but for sure,
Okay.
Neely.
All right. Well, I also need to ask you about something that did pop up on Twitter, I guess a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago. My good pal, Ed Hand, he tweeted out, I know he had tweeted out one of your stat lines that you had. He had a pretty good outing in Salem. And he just put the picture of you in Salem holding the ball out. And I saw you reply to it. It's just bad lighting. Do you want to address the photo? Like, is it, what was that scenario like?
I mean, picture days was fine. I thought the pictures were great. Just mine, the lighting must have been awful because I had the sickest double chin I think I've ever seen. Face looked chubby, double chin. I mean, you can see now, like I don't have a fat face, so I think it was just bad lighting, but I promise you I'm more handsome in person.
And then I also need to address one other photo that I did see from our good pal, Stephen Brooks, of you holding up his jersey. It's I think it's probably one of the better ones I've seen. I think you're just very photogenic. I think we're going to chalk it up as that. I don't think you got a fat face or anything. I just think you got a face for camera.
Yeah, I mean, we're messing around one day, and we're just jersey swapping because I think that was the day we first got our spring training jerseys. So just jersey swapping with like random people. It was pretty funny.
Okay. All right. Well, I just had to ask. Obviously, I saw it. I know Ed got a very good kick out of it, and I know you replied on it and said, "Hey, it's just the lighting." I don't know what to tell you, but did see that. All right. So I need you to show some love. Obviously, you are a Vandy guy. We talked about it. You had 3 years in SEC ball, and SEC is obviously the best conference in the world. I'm a Mizzou guy, kind of SEC. I get it, whatever. But I know it's a bad place to play. I get it. I know the stadium's bad, whatever. But for yourself, obviously playing for a team like Vanderbilt and obviously having probably one of the top 3 programs in the country, in my opinion. But for yourself playing there and having pro guys all around the league, what was that like playing at Vandy and going to pro ball? Was it a good stepping stone? Did it get you mentally prepared and I guess physically prepared for what was in store?
Yeah, for sure. I think every year we're top 10 strength of schedule in the country, so we're always playing the best. We always perform well under pressure. So I think playing the SEC definitely set me up for success in pro ball, just because you're playing big leaguers literally every single week. So it was a tough challenge, faced a lot of adversity, ended up getting 21 wins in my college career. So once I got to pro ball, it made that process a lot more easy.
So I don't know if you took a peek yet at the new draft class that they just drafted. I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah.
saw. Okay, so I believe there's 10 SEC pitchers that were drafted, and Devin Pearson, the head of the amateur scouting, had said on a press conference that that was something that they liked about all these guys. They played in the SEC. They're battle tested. They were facing the best competition. So I obviously agree with that. That you think
Oh yeah.
that kind of elevates a guy a little bit.
100%. Like I said, you're playing big leaguers literally every single week. There's Jack got called up already. I think Wyatt got called up in a year or whatever. So there's a bunch of guys just throughout the conference that are insane. So it's just like, if you know how to get those guys out, you know how to get anybody out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm still waiting on Mizzou to make that run in the SEC one day.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
get a
guys
better.
got my high school catcher's at Mizzou now, so he's a stud. Mateo's
Okay,
coming.
okay, that's a name I got to look out for. I mean, I know we only had 2 guys drafted this past draft, but I guess it's better than zero. But all
Yeah.
right, so I got a couple questions left for you before I do let you slide. You had mentioned earlier that one of your roommates in the complex was Conrad Kaysen,
Yeah.
and you kind of noticed a lot of the Zaxby's bags, things like that. I'm a big Zaxby's guy. Did
Oh
you
yeah.
ever accompany him on those trips?
Absolutely. I mean, whenever he went, he'd always text me or vice versa if we wanted anything. So me and him had a good amount of Zaxby's, but my bread and butter is definitely Moe's. I mean, I put all the guys on. We had Moe's so much. It was unbelievable.
Moe's, not Chipotle.
Moe's. Not, I mean, we mixed it in, but it was mostly Moe's.
Okay. Is it I've only been to Moe's like twice in my life. There was a couple in Columbia, Missouri, but I've only been like once or twice. Is it true that if they don't tell you welcome to Moe's, you get a free bowl?
I've never had that happen. It's just the customer service at Moe's is unlike anything ever. So, I definitely recommend getting a stack. You ever had like the Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell?
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's loaded. It's loaded with whatever you want. You can just dip it in queso. You can go crazy with it.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that. I don't know if there's any Moe's around here. I don't think so, but whenever I'm around there again, I'm gonna have to try it because that sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
They used to have these like college Mondays or Tuesdays at Mizzou, and it was like you could get a bowl for $5, and when you're a college student, it's obviously amazing. So
Yeah, it's a good
um,
deal.
probably should have went more often. Okay, so for yourself, you're in Salem, Virginia. First time you've probably ever been to Salem, Virginia. Have do you miss anything about home being in Salem? I guess what is something that you do kind of miss about being in Florida when you're up in Salem?
I'd say the one thing I miss about it is just being able to go home whenever I want. I mean, when I was in Fort Myers on the weekends, whenever you got a day off, I'd just go home. I mean, it was like an hour, 30 minutes from my house in Fort Myers. So just go down to Miami, hang out with the fam, go to the beach, go fishing or whatever. So it was always a good time being down there. But now that I'm up here, I mean, it's all ball, and regardless, I love it. But there's nothing like Florida.
All right, I couldn't agree with you more, but I got one last question here before you, and I will let you slide. It's a bit of a two-parter here, but nothing crazy. Obviously, we're heading into the second half of the season. You're officially back in Salem after the All-Star break, so it's going to be the end of the year before you know it. And you've put in some innings now. You got your professional career started first half. So for yourself, do you have any, let's just say, goals in mind for the second half, whether they're statistical, personal, I guess any physical goals? Like, is there anything that you want to accomplish by the end of the season?
I mean, by the end of the season, I like to get the average velo to at least 90. That's kind of what my goal set by the org was, just to get it closer to 92. Obviously, beginning of the year was a little bit different just because of minor injuries, but now that I'm taking a little bit closer, I like to get closer to 90 and just keep competing the way I know how to. I mean, I've been pitching since I was a little kid, and this is what I love to do, and obviously the SEC has kind of helped me build a little bit of adversity, how to battle through it. But I feel like I'm on the right track. Just keep pitching the way I know how to, and eventually the outcomes will show.
All right, Devin. Well, I do thank you so much for hopping on and doing this. Obviously, wishing you the best of luck going forward in 25. Obviously, a very healthy, and seeing you get built back up is key. And I think fans will get to know you here pretty soon. But thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.